Zoom is a very powerful and easy-to-use feature of WyBoard Studio. Let's show it in action. In this example, we will use the famous Mona Lisa painting. Open WyBoard Studio and create a new project. Choose the project name and location where it will be saved. Drag a text to the canvas, change the text to be Mona Lisa, change the color and text size. We can see that the whiteboard animation has been added to it. Now let's add the image to the canvas. Adjust the image size and location on the canvas. The fun part starts. Make sure you go to the beginning of the video in the timeline at the bottom. 0 seconds. The zoom can be found in the square that surrounds the canvas. Note the 4 squares on the corner where we can select it, resize, and move it. Let's resize the zoom to focus on the text. Once the zoom is selected, we can resize it and move it. Now, very important. Once we are happy with it, we need to click on the keyframe button to set the zoom, otherwise it won't be saved. Note that when we do that, the zoom keyframe is added to the timeline at the current time. Let's make sure the whiteboard doodle animation for the text will last for 5 seconds, and for this video, let's give a few seconds between the text animation and the Mona Lisa image animation. We will set the zoom to focus on the text until the end of the text whiteboard animation. Go to the 5-second mark in the timeline at the bottom and select the zoom, and just click the keyframe button and don't resize it. Again, make sure you click the keyframe button to save the zoom. We see the keyframe added to the timeline at the bottom. This will create another keyframe that will keep the zoom on the text during the whole text animation. You will understand now why we are doing that. In the timeline, click on the start time of the Mona Lisa image animation. Now we select the zoom and click on this little icon that will set the zoom as full size. Note that the zoom will transition to be full size from the end of the last zoom keyframe, which is the end of the text animation, and it will keep growing until it reaches the full size at the beginning of the Mona Lisa image animation. Again, please don't forget to click on the zoom keyframe button to apply the zoom. The keyframe has been added to the timeline at the bottom. Now, we will go to the end of the Mona Lisa image animation. Maybe let's give a few seconds after the end of its animation. Select the zoom and we just keep the full size zoom. For our purposes here we won't resize it, we just click on the keyframe button and this way we will have the full screen during the Mona Lisa image animation. Now to finalize this demo, we will set the zoom to focus on Mona Lisa's face. Just right after the last zoom keyframe, we will reduce the zoom to fit Mona Lisa's face. Use the zoom control and resize it accordingly. An important note, although we can resize the zoom, it will always keep the same width and height proportion as it needs to keep the proportions of the video that will be rendered. What that means is that we can't resize just the zoom's width without resizing its height and vice versa. Hope that makes sense to you. Again, we must click the keyframe button to set the zoom. We can see our work after we are done. Click the preview video button and we see how the zoom feature is powerful and easy to use.